fascia so that we can get nice and strong in our feet and our ankles for everything that we do in dancing. The first thing that I always work on, of course, is the fascia. So I take my hands and just palpate the bottom of my foot like this, like I'm eating bread or pizza dough. Then take my hand, make a fist, and just rub up and down in the arch of my foot. This helps to just loosen the fascia a little bit. So we'll do that on both the left and the right feet, starting with my left foot. I'm tending to favor left lately, I'm not sure why. But we all have a favorite side. When I was younger, my favorite side was always my right side, and now it's my left. Okay, just keep working on that. And after a few seconds, just go ahead and switch to the other foot. I do this before every class, before really anything and everything. I even do this when I'm getting ready for my day, if I'm teaching at the university, or no matter what I'm doing, just because it helps to make my feet feel really good and ready for anything. So just keep working on that for another 15 or 20 seconds. As dancers, make sure that you study as much as you can about anatomy and physiology, as it's so important to being able to better move your body through space and understand how everything works together, and even understanding how many bones we have in these magnificent feet of ours really helps in executing all kinds of difficult jumps and turns, and even doing something simple like standing in first position. Okay. Keep working on that foot. And then when you're ready, another thing that I always like to have on hand, or two things, are some balls. I have a baseball. You can use a lacrosse ball as well. I also have one of those hiding around here somewhere. And this squishier ball. This one is by the Franklin method. It just has some indentations on it, which is also very nice. I tend to use the harder balls for the arches of my feet, and the softer one for the sides, which I'll show you in just a moment. So if you have a ball, grab one. Obviously, something small, not a basketball or soccer ball. Though it would be fascinating, you might get hurt trying to balance on top of a soccer ball or basketball, or at least I know I would, because I was terrible at sports. I would run the other direction from balls as they came toward me when I was younger. So take your ball that's a little bit more sturdy if you have it. Even if you only have one ball, that's fine. A tennis ball works great. Anything at all. Sometimes when I'm really desperate, I've even used things like a can of soup or vegetables or something, and just to roll underneath my foot. Okay, so here we go. Take the ball and just place it under your foot. Put some pressure. Roll it around. And also don't forget to get right at the back of your foot, around your heel, because this is where your Achilles really starts, right? Of course, tendons, if you think about it, tendons, of course, are connecting muscle to bone. And our Achilles, of course, is one of the most important tendons for dance. I just keep rolling. And adding some pressure there, just rolling out the foot. And don't forget, too, to get up underneath the toes. So underneath that big toe especially, we put a lot of pressure there when we're doing releves and pointe work and any kind of turning or jumping, which we don't do any of those in dancing, right? Okay. So just keep that moving. One of the other really cool things about loosening up the fascia on the bottom of the feet is it actually helps to release your hamstring. Totally true. Go ahead, check it out, look in some journals and see what you find, but it's absolutely true. Now I'm going to switch to the other side, to my other foot. And yes, I'm in my house because I thought if we're all stuck and we're engaging in social distancing, I need to be doing the same thing. So I'm working from home. You'll hear my birds in the background, and they love to make lots and lots of noise, so I apologize. And occasionally you'll see my dog run around, but right now she's sleeping. She sleeps 23 and a half out of the 24 hours a day. The other half hour she barks. She makes herself very known. Just continue rolling your feet. I actually have a hard time with this foot because I stepped on a piece of glass and it still happens to be in my foot. So I have to be very careful with where I'm rolling on this one. Okay. There we go. And now I like to take the softer ball. If you have like I said, a tennis ball or anything else, that's really nice too. But I take it and I cross my leg over, my one leg over the other one, kind of up above my knee. And just, actually let's take it down a little lower. And then I just roll the top. Here, I'll move it a little bit so you can see better. Roll this kind of side and top of my foot, like this. Sometimes we focus too much on the bottoms of our feet and we forget that we have all these muscles and tendons also on the sides. They're very important for our life as dancers. Okay, we'll do the other side. And you can do this for as long as you like, for as long as it feels good for your body. Sometimes you need a lot longer, sometimes less time. But you know your body better than anyone, so make sure you listen. Okay, and then part of this fascial release is also focusing on the backs of the legs, so the calf muscle, the gastrocnemius, and the front of the leg, right on the outside of the shin bone. So you have that muscle that sometimes if you jump too much in class or if you're on a floor that's not so great, you get what feels like shin splints, or you do get shin splints. That's the area of the leg that we're going to focus on. So we take either ball. I'm going to use the one that's a little bit more firm. I'm just going to put it right underneath my leg. Oh, I'll use this one because that one wants to roll around on the rug. And I'm just going to bring my leg forward and back and just release the front of my leg there. And be careful not to put the ball directly on your shin bone because you don't want to hurt yourself or have bruising. That's not what this is about. It's supposed to feel nice, right? No pain. Okay, and then we'll do the other side as well. I notice I have a lot of guitars around me. My son is a guitarist, and so we have lots and lots of instruments around. And on the other side of the camera that you're not seeing right now are pianos. So we have that too, which is super cool. Okay. Then, when you're done with the fronts of your legs, I want you to think about the back, and here I'm going to try the more firm one again. And just put it right underneath your calf muscle. Lift yourself up a little bit and roll forwards and backwards. This is kind of like using a foam roller, but it's a little bit more targeted. I find that using the foam roller on my lower legs doesn't work as well as a ball. And also make sure that you're not ever foam rolling tissue that's aggravated because it's just going to make it more aggravated. So again, listen to your body. If something doesn't feel good, then you should probably stop. Okay, let's do the other side. Other leg. Oops, here we go. There we go. My dog is still sleeping. I don't know if she'll wake up. We'll see. Maybe if we get an Amazon delivery or something like this. This will wake her, and then she'll run over and make herself very known. Okay. And again, do this as long as you like. Okay, so let's move on to using our bands. So today, what we can do is if you have a band like this at home, that's absolutely great. You can use one like this, or you can use a longer one. I have tied this into a ridiculous number of knots and loops and things like that, but don't pay attention to that. It's not necessary to do something that crazy. All we need is a nice length of band that you can wrap around your foot. So it could be something as small as the little loop or something much, much bigger. It's entirely up to you, and it's entirely up to what you have at your fingertips. So let's start with one of my favorite ones. And this isn't your typical where you just wrap the band around and point and flex the foot. since we do a lot of point work, and I mean, even with turns and jumps and everything else, sometimes what happens is people tend to roll their ankles. I've done it. I did it when I was very young. I was about 16. My son has done it. I think my husband, we've all done this at some point in our lives. And so what I like to do is focus on strengthening the outside of the ankle here. And the way to do that is to take your band, wrap it around just like you're going to just point and flex in a parallel position. But instead of staying in the parallel position, take your foot and let it, what would feel like being sickled in a ballet class. So you're going to pull your big toe toward the midline of your body, and the outside of your foot will stretch. Hold the band nice and tight. If you hold it too loose, it might feel nice. However, we're not going to get much strengthening done. So pull the band as tight as you're comfortable with. And then what we'll shoot for is maybe 16 repetitions, and we'll do several sets. But just pause the video and do additional sets on your own. But together we'll do 16. So here we go. I always ask one of my students in class to keep track of how many we've done, because I get chatty. And then my poor students are like, oh, we've done 50. Do we have to do more? So I think we're on 10. 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Give your foot a nice little stretch. Okay, release the band, give your foot a nice circle, go the other direction, shake out your leg a little. Very good. Okay, and do as many reps as you want and as many sets as you want. Then what we're going to do is go the opposite direction. So again, wrap the band just like if you were going to just standard point and flex. But instead of turning your foot this way so that you're kind of sickling the foot, what I want you to do is to actually rotate the ankle out the other direction, and so that your toe is coming away from the midline of the body, and then rotate your ankle, do a half circle toward the midline of the body. So you're going the other direction, so you're strengthening the other side of your ankle, so the side that's closest to the midline of your body. And we're doing 16 again. It's very beautiful here in Connecticut today. Sun is shining. Took a really nice long walk earlier. Got to walk on the beach. It made me feel so good and so happy. It was gorgeous. It made me think of Hawaii, which is why I have the plumeria in my hair. I lived there for, oh my goodness, a number of years, many years ago, and I loved it. Absolutely love Hawaiian culture. It's beautiful. I think we've done 16. Okay, don't forget to pause the video and do more sets, and the number of sets, of course, that are right for you. Now let's go ahead and do the other leg. Same process. So we'll do 16. There we go. On this side, remember, we're going to start with our leg. Now, just keep your hips neutral, so don't turn out or try to turn in. We're keeping it neutral. My birds agree, keep it neutral. And just move the ankle. Okay, so we're not coming from here, we're not coming from the hip. Here we go. Let's start with our big toe toward the midline of our body and go out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yay, okay. Shake it out. Shake out here. Roll your foot a little bit. Oh, mine's making terrible sounds. Did you hear it snapping and cracking? Okay. Now, let's do that again. So take your band, wrap it around your foot like this. And instead of pulling this direction, make your big toe come out this way, and then pull your big toe towards your other foot. 2, so towards the midline of your body. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a good arm workout too. 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, wonderful. And what we'll also do too are just our standard point and flex with the band. However, instead of wrapping this way, I prefer to wrap the band this way. And you can do this with a loop as well. I'll show you how to do it. I prefer this way, and then point and flex the foot inside of this kind of track that we've got here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It would be good if we had 2 bands. We could do them at the same time. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, other foot. And stretch it. Remember, up and over, so you're kind of covering the entire foot like this. And we do 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe you're hearing my dishwasher in the background too. 8. Apologize for that. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and again, do more sets. Don't only do 16. That's not going to get you the strength that you want. However, do those exercises in any rep and set combinations that work for you. But the main thing is consistency, so just keep doing them. All right, another thing I really like to do is stretch my feet. I don't have a foot stretcher. I've never used a foot stretcher. I think I'm too ancient for a foot stretcher. I don't think I even had them when I was young. So we did feet stretching in a little bit different way. So something that I really enjoy doing is simply going like this, wrapping my foot with the band. Then I take the band and I just gently pull it around me. And sometimes you can pull your foot closer to your body if you need to. But for me, that just feels really, really nice. And then I can just point and flex my foot a little in this position. But what it does is it gives a nice, more natural stretch across the front of the foot. It just feels good. I haven't tried a foot stretcher. Maybe somebody could convince me to do so. I haven't done it yet. Reminds me when I was younger, we used to put our point shoes indoors and do terrible things to them. And don't ever do that. Doesn't help the life of your shoe at all. All right, now I'll do the other foot. Same thing. There are many other things we can do to our point shoes, but I wouldn't recommend that one. Okay, and just give a nice little tug. Here, I'll turn so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Have this here, and just lean forward, flex and point as you see fit. Okay, awesome. So now our feet should feel nice and super strong for our next series of exercises, which we'll do on a balance board. We have one of these. If you don't have one of these, don't worry, you can do it even without one. And then after that, don't forget, we are going to use our point shoes. If you don't have point shoes, no big deal. You can still do the same exercises in your flat shoes or in your bare feet or socks, whatever might work, although probably not like big puffy ducky slippers. If it does work, let me know and we'll give it a try. Maybe we should do a video like that. All right, so right now, go ahead and find your balance board, and I'm gonna do this particular exercise at my kitchen counter because it's the closest thing I have to a bar that is in my house. All right, see you in a few. Cinnamon. Hi. Are you going to do ballet with us? You're going to do ballet? No, you're not going to do ballet today. Okay, no problem. Use your balance board. I know I am. I'm in my kitchen, which is not far from where I just did our other video on stretching and strengthening our feet with our bands. So here we go. If you don't have a balance board, you can do the exact same exercises just without the board. Don't worry, and I think I mentioned this before. I got this for $5 or something like that at Five Below. It's very, very, very cheap. This is nothing fancy at all. So totally accessible. But promise me you're not going to do anything crazy like stand on plates or something like that, because trust me, that does not work. Not at all. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and by the way, you're not going to see me from the waist up because otherwise you won't be able to see my feet. So see you soon. Okay, hang out. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so here we have the balance board and my feet and legs. My feet look gigantic. They always were for my height, but anyhow, that's okay. Another topic for another day. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our disc and we're going to stand on one side or the other. Now you're going to find that you have a side that's like really strong and one that's not so strong. It feels a little bit weak. Totally normal, that's fine. Don't worry about it. The side that feels a little less strong, you'll simply want to do more reps and more sets. So the first thing that you're going to do is start with whatever foot you want, right or left, and start with one foot on. Now I'm standing near my kitchen counter, so if I feel like I need to grab it, I'm going to do that. But what I'm going to try to do is hold a nice tight core, lift in my hip, so you don't want to do like this, right? That's super hard anyway. So nice and lifted. And what I'm going to do is just tip forward and back, forward and back. So let's try to do that. Let's do it 16 times. And you can do whatever you want to do with this leg over here. If you want to be fancy and try to hold it in a second position tendu, that's great. Or coupe is kind of hard because I always rotate. So I'm just going to focus on my standing leg. And here we go. I'm going to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I have a feeling I'm going to go in a circle. 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Whoa. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh my goodness, my calf is screaming, screaming, screaming. Okay, I'm going to stretch out my calf a little bit. Okay, that feels much, much better. All right, and what I want you to do is do multiple sets on each leg. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the left leg, but what you should do is pause the video in between legs and keep going. All right, let's do the left. When I was 16, I did something really stupid. I was jumping on a trampoline. 2, remember to tip forward, lift up in the hip. 3, 4, and I rolled my ankle and I tore every single ligament and the outside of my left leg. And I thought, okay, my ballet career at least is over. It felt that way. But I did a lot of water therapy and these kinds of things because I just felt like what my doctor was prescribing was not enough. So I talked to somebody who is an orthopedic surgeon and he said to me, get in the pool, get in the pool, get in a pool. So I did just that. And of course he gave me exercises, but I do believe it really helped. See, this is what I mean about getting chatty. I think I did more than 16, but we'll do 2 more. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Again, stretch it out. Yep. Good. Perfect. Okay, so this next one, what we're going to do for the next one, we're going to work on our turnout and also our stability. You know, using these balance boards is really cool because I don't know if you're a wobbler in adagio or anything like that. I'm a wobbler in adagio. I used to blame my Pointe shoes, but no, it's simply my ankles. Sometimes the pointe shoes don't help, but using a balance board really has helped my stability. So, but what we're going to work on is turnout on the balance board. Now, there's a lot of discussion out there about turnout, and where does turnout come from? How do we use it? How do we engage it? How do we develop it? I encourage you to look at the International Association of Dance Medicine and Sciences website, because they are fantastic articles on turnout and how we develop it, what different kinds of turnout there are. It's not at all a simple concept. It's really complex. And for me, it simply reflects the complexity of our bodies and all of the magnificent things that we can do as human beings and dancers. So when we're talking about the turnout exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to stand on one leg on the board, and we're going to rotate from the hip and see if we can rotate the disc. Now, there's a lot more that goes into turnout, of course, because there's tibial torsion. There are all kinds of things that contribute to turnout. But today we're just going to focus on engaging those 6 deep outward rotators in our hips. And you're probably not going to get your foot all the way out to half of a perfect first position. I know I'm not, absolutely not. And that's not the goal here. The goal is to simply learn how to isolate those muscles and go ahead and use them. So we're going to do 16 reps on each side, but again, pause the video in between and do more reps. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start with my right leg, and remember, don't sit like this. You're going to lift up in the hip, so you're really engaging the muscles here, right here on the outside, kind of deep down in there. So none of this, don't arch your back, things like that. Nice and lifted. Just like if you were going to prep for a pirouette. Okay, so here we go. And if you feel like you need to hold on to something, that's fine. Absolutely okay. So notice my foot. I am rotating from my hip. However, it's not going all the way to the side, okay? So don't be hard on yourselves. Don't be super self-critical. Use your hip muscles to rotate that leg around. Because when we're in our pirouettes and other things, our développés à la seconde, what we want to do is to be able to maintain the turnout from our hips, right? And it's especially hard because what happens often when we turn is especially in piqué turns or chaîné turns, our hips tend to come forward and we lose the turnout in the top of the leg. So keep going. See if you can do it without holding on. Here we go. We're going to do 1, 2, and you can float this leg wherever it's comfortable. The main thing is that you focus on the working leg. 4, 5, 6, and notice how my board is wobbling all over the place, and that's okay. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, hold it. Okay, other leg, here we go. Okay, get your foot on the middle there. And remember, none of this. Okay, nice and lifted. For me, this always felt uncomfortable because you probably noticed that I have wider hips. I don't have the most narrow hips in the world. And I was also born with one leg backwards, which is totally weird, but I was. And so turnout has always been a bear, but I try my best. If you hadn't noticed, this is the leg that was backwards. 4, 5, whoa, here we go. 6, 7, yeah, my parents were told I would never walk, which is kind of true because I've been dancing my whole life. 9. Remember, use those nice rotators up here. 10, 11, 12, whoa. Whoops. Okay, let's try that again. 13, use your core. 14, 15, and 16. Lovely. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and do the next one. So the next thing that we're gonna do is simply a single leg plie, 16 times on each leg. And don't worry so much about turnout. It's more, again, about figuring out your weight distribution and just seeing how stable you are and working on that stability. Remember to engage your core, right? And it's not just the front core, but the back. We have to think about our backs when we're dancing. Sometimes because we only see the front, we only think about the front. However, we have a whole back body that's really, really powerful. So we gotta use it. All right, here we go. Let's do our pliés. Now, if you need to hold on to something, totally cool, it's fine. 1, and I'm not really doing a plie, it's more of a squat because I'm totally sticking my butt out. 2, 3, 4, yes, so make this a squat, not a plie. 5, 6, oh my goodness, 7, 8, 9, 10, holy moly, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, on to the other side. Here we go. You know what? Here, give yourself a little stretch. Stretch out your psoas always. So do a nice lunge. Lean away from your body, away from your leg that's stretched. Stretch forward a little. Also, don't hold tension in your neck and your jaw. I do that. Don't do it. It's not good. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, let's do the other side. Here we go. Again, this is my super wobbly side, but I'm going for it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now this is targeting your quads, of course, and your hip muscles. 4, your calves, your shins. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, I don't know about you, but I need to stretch. Here we go. Now, let's see. Next thing we're gonna do, you've probably seen these fabulous videos on Instagram with amazing extensions while holding a puppy on a balance ball, on a Bosu ball. And of course, those are really, really tough to balance on. So I do have a puppy. I'm not going to hold her. If I did try to hold her while balancing on this, I would probably hurt her and myself. So I'm not gonna take the risk. And I'm just gonna go ahead and try to balance in a very low attitude, 45 degrees. We're gonna carry it to the front, to the side, to the front, to the side. Let's do that. Let's do it 8 times. And then we'll go from the side to the back, to the side, to the back, 8 times. Sound good? Right on, here we go. Let's try it. All right. I'm gonna start with my right foot on the balance board. So my right side is the working side, right? Because I'm lifting up in this hip. I'm not sitting here and doing this with my attitude. Lifting, okay, front, and engage the turnout. You'll notice that I'm turning as I'm doing this. That's normal. Why do you think that is? Why am I turning? 4, totally interesting phenomenon about turning, isn't it? Okay, let's try to the back. So start to the side, just small attitude. And is it possible to go to the back? It's very hard. 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating. I'm sweating so much, it's disgusting. 5, but in a really good way. 6, 7, and you'll notice that my attitude is super low. This is not about height, dancers. This is about the working side. Wow. Here, stretch across. Oh man, my hip is so sore, but this is cool. This is great. All right. Now, you can pause this and do more sets if you're really motivated. I'm gonna just hop right over to the other side and I'll do more sets later. Here we go. Okay, left foot on. Whew. Breathe. Oh yeah, don't forget to drink some water. So important to stay hydrated. Your muscles need water, they need food, so eat, right? I just made a beautiful bread. So this myth that dancers don't eat bread is just simply that, it's a myth. I happen to enjoy bread very, very much. Okay, here we go, other side. Remember, no sinking. Lift, lift, lift. And cross in front, front, to the side, front, side. You'll notice I'm holding on this side because I don't necessarily want to go turning all over the place. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Now to the back. Here we go. Nice and tall. Again, slouch first. Lift, lift, lift in this hip. Okay, point your toes. Attitude. And to the back. And side. And 2. And side. And notice which direction you're wobbling in. 3. And side. 4. And side. 5. 6. 7. And 8. My goodness. Okay. Stretch. Wow. This really gets me in those turnout muscles, those deep outward rotators. My goodness. Whoa. Okay. All right. So, the very last thing is the single foot releve challenge on the balance board. The goal is to try to stay up there as long as you possibly can. I don't know, I've got maybe 3 seconds. Let's see what I can do. And let's see what you can do. And if you want to, in the comments field below, tell me how many seconds you are able to balance on this balance board in releve, because I am dying to know. Because I bet you guys are a million times more fabulous than I could ever be. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Stepping on. Releve. And you can see my hand if I'm touching the counter or not. Okay. Here we go. Okay, that's enough for me for that side. Let's try the other side. I once took class with this amazing woman, and she was in a releve, the beautiful extension devant, and she was talking while she was there and saying that while in this position we should be able to have a lovely conversation, maybe even a cup of tea, which I thought was endlessly humorous and fabulous all at the same time. So you can see me kind of wobbly on this side. And done. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Don't forget to stretch out your calves. All right, let's join me in just a moment for our point section of this video. And if you don't have point shoes, don't worry, you can still do it. Promise. Okay, see you soon. Okay, dancers, now we are going to do the point section of our video together. These are my point shoes here. These are the Suffolk Stellar. I love these shoes. They're fantastic for me. They work great for my feet. They're my absolute faves. I used to wear Freeds, but these are definitely my favorite. And it makes sense given that the Suffolk point shoe is made by a former Freed maker. So these happen to be my favorites. If you want to, comment in the field below and let me know what your favorites are. Also, I get my point shoes through a subscription box through Metronome Dancewear. And if you would like to also get your point shoes delivered straight to you, you can do the same. And you can use my code to get 50% off your first order, which is amazing. So look down below and see what the coupon code is for that process. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started. And again, I'm going to stand at my kitchen counter, so you'll see me from kind of the waist down. But this is a very, very basic exercise, and that it's designed simply for strength, and we aren't going to do anything super technical in terms of execution of different steps or combinations, because we are in the kitchen. And right now we need to simply be focusing on maintaining our strength and keeping our feet conditioned for when we are back in the studio. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and inside my shoes, I am not a paper towel girl anymore. I used to be, but I use now what are called skinny dips. They're so cool. They're very thin, but they have the gel inside, so a little bit more shock absorption, which is really, really nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's great. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. I think you can see my feet just fine. Okay, so while we're doing this today, the main thing, of course, is to think about, keeping our feet nice and strong and maintaining our turnout on point and all of those good kinds of things. So we're going to do very, very basic. So what we're going to do is just start in first position. You can face your counter, or you can have one hand. It's up to you. But what we're going to do is what I do with the way I start all of my point classes. We're just going to start with basic plie, releve. So plie, releve, roll down, plie, releve, roll down. We'll do that 8 times. So here we go. And while we're here, when you do your plie, think about your turnout even before your knees bend. So think about engaging here. So plie, right, and do a nice plie here, and then come up to your releve. And when you are coming down, don't plunk. No plunking in point. No plunking, it's not allowed. What we do instead is we lift and then come through our 3/4 point and come down. So demi, up, lift and come down. So let's do that 8 times. Here we go. 2, and down, up, and lift and down. 3, up, lift and down. 4, lift and down, 7, up, lift and down, 8, up, lift and down. Okay, so next thing on the list is we're going to spring up, we're going to do eleves, 8 of them, same idea. Think about rotating from the hip and also coming through that 3/4 point, so no plunking, just floating, right? Here we go. Here we go. And you can repeat these, of course, in second position as well as fifth. But today we're just, for the video, we'll just do first position. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and take a balance. Remember, rotate here, lift, lift, balance, 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 and roll down. Okay, well done. And of course, she's awake. I told you she'd wake up at some point. Hi, Cinnamon. You want to come join us? You'll come say hello. I don't think she wants to. I think she's probably barking at the neighbors. Here we go. Let's just work on our metatarsals. And here the idea is to just, this upper part of the foot, of the toes here. 1, 2. Okay, we'll do that 16 times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and balance. Hold that turn out. Beautiful. Have energy here, don't just flop the arms. Energy, energy, energy. Lift and roll down. Beautifully done. Okay. Now we can do this same thing with a 1 foot. So I'm going to turn and face my kitchen counter because I think you guys probably would want to do the same thing. So 1 foot. The other just in PK. Remember to lift here. We're not doing this with our backs. As we do these releves, it's tempting to do all kinds of funky things with our backs. But we're just going to do 8, and then we're going to switch to the other side and do 8. Here we go. 3, and 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Balance. I probably did a little back wobbling, and if you noticed, something that I should correct. Right, balance and go to the other side. And here we go. This foot will probably wobble too. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and balance. Extremely well done, dancers. So do as much of that as you possibly can on your own. Do as many sets as you can, and I'll see you next time. Love you. Beautiful job. Miss all of you. Mwah.